Casual workers to receive holiday pay. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I'm still working through my morning coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from news.com.au. This one's discussing casual workers potentially receiving holiday pay, a roadmap as they're saying. We've got bridges to the future, now we have roadmaps to holiday pay. Now, recently I did an interview with Stuart Bonds where we were discussing what was occurring in the coal mining industry with all of the labour hire companies putting people on casual. Now, that's generated a lot of discussion in the media around the potential for double dipping, and we're hearing more and more discussion about holiday pay and things for casual workers. Now, you have to understand, under normal circumstances, casual workers receive a loading that's 25% above the award. That's to compensate them for not getting holiday pay, not getting other benefits, and also for just, well, what's meant to be, which didn't happen in the coal mines. Considering their contracts were a year out sometimes, their timetables, which compensates them for the changing fluctuations of the timetables. It's good because it allows businesses to adapt their workforce needs to supply and demand, or demand for their workers, and it gives casual workers more money. You get more money in your pocket. Some people would prefer more money than holiday pay and all these other things that they don't really care about. Or, what's more important to you, money or holiday? Or you could save money aside, earn interest on it, then have that and the bonus of the interest when you go on holiday. And I know interests are non-existent these days, but you get my point. It's giving the individual as well more agency to make the best of the situation. And here we have, because of discussions occurring, part of the JobMaker package, perhaps a removal of this form of flexibility. So we can see. So while it may sound good, I think the unions are pushing for ways to secure more membership. Maybe I'm being too cynical, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know, if you're a casual worker, would you rather have holiday pay than having the extra loading? Because that's what's going to happen, guys. You don't get anything for free. One way or another, businesses are going to just absorb that cost. They're not going to, if they're not making any profit, paying your holiday, your pay's going to get cut, or you're going to get fired. That's how it works, guys. Scott Morrison has an open mind about delivering millions of casual workers greater certainty on access to sick leave and holiday pay in Australia under a planned shake-up of workplace laws. But a clear definition of what a casual is to protect employers from future legal claims for back pay is likely to be the quid pro quo with unions. The Prime Minister was accused of abandoning casuals by excluding them from the $1,500 JobKeeper scheme in the wake of the pandemic unless they had worked for an employer for over 12 months. Well, there you go, guys. There's the issue. The problem was a whole lot of people may have just put someone on casual for a week before. We'll have to see. Well, no, really, the fundamental problem is this JobKeeper scheme isn't for the casuals, guys. It's actually for the businesses. It's to allow the businesses to maintain their relationships with their workforce. It's subsidizing the businesses. There's plenty of businesses that are paying their casuals, bigger ones. I know QIC was doing it regardless. Before the JobKeeper scheme even came into place, they were still paying their casuals. But a lot of businesses can't afford that. But what could be about to change as unions and employers call for a clear definition of what a casual worker is, and a better roadmap for how long-term casuals can convert to permanent jobs with annual leave. But some people prefer that. They're going to take away the choice. They're going to take away the choice of a whole lot of people. Some people only want to work a few hours here and there. They don't need holiday leave. They don't need all that stuff. Because remember, holiday leave is your money that is set aside, should be set aside by your boss, because you're too stupid to be able to save your money aside. That's essentially what they're saying. That's it. That's what the unions are saying. That's why they want to meddle into your personal lives so much. If you think super's bad, this is just another way of it. That's what sick leave is as well. That's all part of your cost base that is set aside because you can't save money for those times. That's what it is, guys. And, well, maybe people can't, guys. Maybe people can't save. Can we address that with education? Can financial education address that? We haven't tried. Might be good to bloody well try, wouldn't it? How many Australians have only sitting on $90 of cash? what, 10% of our civilization. Doesn't that scare you guys? The federal court has recently found that some casual workers working regular hours should be considered permanent employees regardless of what their contracts say, forcing bosses to back pay annual leave, personal leave, and public holiday payments. Yes, and we've discussed that. That's a very different circumstance, very unique situation. And some of them, it's because, well, in this situation that they're talking about here to the federal court, it's because it didn't meet the fairness test, guys. The loading that they were getting wasn't equivalent to the award. They were paid under the award. That's what happened. It's not your average person in your Macca's or in your cafe shop. Bosses want clarity before they hire new staff, but the PM also believes that long-term casual workers should have the right to convert their role to part-time jobs with leave entitlements at some point. I mean, we had, with some of our staff, we had them permanent part-time, you know, because they could only do so many hours while they were studying. That's how we did it. It was easier than casual. As the Prime Minister hit the airways today to explain his Hawke-Keating-style summit with union leaders to protect jobs in the post-pandemic economy, he's backed the right of more casuals to convert to permanent roles with leave entitlements. Okay, guys, you're going to give up something if you're a casual. What would you rather, the 25% loading or a reduction in your loading? You know, they're going to take your loading off you to pay your holiday time. What if you want to work through the holiday, guys? What if you don't take holiday? It's just me who didn't like taking holiday. Well, I'm a small business now, so holiday doesn't exist anymore. The opportunity should be there for employees where they are operating as full-time employees, that they would have the opportunity to convert to full-time work, he said. But they already do. You discuss that with your boss and your business, and maybe they don't want to take on that responsibility. Isn't that the choice? Isn't that allowing businesses the flexibility to pick and choose? It's going to be more meddling in small business, more meddling in businesses, guys. And you know what that's going to result in? It's going to result in less employment. Now, that's a reasonable position. That's something that's already commenced happening, and it's something that needs to be done in a fair and reasonable way. And that's one of the key issues that I'm sure is going to be discussed, how that can be best achieved. Wow, what a sentence that was. It's a consensus proposal that secured conditional support from the nation's most revered trade unionist, Bill Kelty. If it will help deliver change for the growing army of casual workers denied basic rights to sick leave and holiday pay. Okay. They get extra money. They get extra money. They should. If they're not getting extra money, then that's a breach of the law. They get extra money. Come on. This isn't rocket science. But he doesn't care about that. He wants to increase his membership. Look at the stats, guys, on who are predominantly unionists these days. It's not your tradie. It's not, your bloke with a ute. Not anymore. Not anymore. Public service. Middle-aged women. So all these soy boys who are simps for unionism, there you go, guys. Don't be a simp. The architect of former Prime Minister Bob Hawke's original Accord agreement with workers and former ACTU secretary has even raised the prospect that simplifying complex awards for bosses could be part of the discussion. Well, yes, no, he's 100% right there. These awards are so bloody complex. And, is it big business encouraging this complexity? Is it unionism encouraging this complexity? Because it stifles the small guys. If you're in small business and you have to go through these awards, they're a bloody nightmare. And there'd be lots of small businesses who would just default to what the unions are telling them. And we've seen before, we've seen with this labour hire mess now, the unions, they may be getting it wrong too. Intentionally or unintentionally, that's another topic for discussion. Doing something in respect of casuals, giving them greater security and converting them to part-time or full-time, that's the biggest weakness this economy has. Well, the other thing is, guys, you've got this growth in labour hire everywhere. And businesses don't want to take on employees, so they're going through labour hire businesses to avoid all the rigmarole and the burden. And sometimes even to save money. If you're a worker and you've got annual leave, long service leave, but if you're a casual employee, you're close to falling over the edge. I mean, I never understood long service leave. It should just be a reward to have worked at a business long enough. Isn't that it? I mean, I've been an employee for very short periods of my life, to be brutally honest. You know, I did it while I was studying, then a stint at the Architectural Practice Academy, and from then I've just jumped ship and gone on my own. So all of these perks that these workers have, a lot of small business owners, we don't even contemplate any of those things, guys. Long service leave is just, you know, it's having your debts paid off. That's the equivalent for a small business owner. Mr. Kelty said if a better deal could be reached on casuals, there was a discussion to be had about simplifying the awards and determining working conditions and penalty rates. What do the employers say they find hard? The award complexities. So award simplification, if it's not about a reduction in people's rates and conditions, might be something to look at. Mr. Kelty conceded that some workers would need to make big concessions to save jobs in a recession. They don't necessarily need to be pay cuts, but it might be big adjustments, he said. You can simplify awards, but you've got to simplify awards to make them more efficient and understood. You don't simplify awards for reducing people's conditions across the board. Well, here's the thing, guys. All of this is government meddling in the market. All of this is government and unionist meddling in the market. And it just adds costs to businesses. And it encourages businesses to reduce those costs. And how are they doing it? They're offshoring work. They're outsourcing to labor hire companies. The labor hire companies are just giving terrible conditions for some of these businesses, these workers. Not just in the coal mines and everywhere, guys. Just look at the airports. So despite claims that no previous Liberal Prime Minister has had countenanced a consensus approach with unions, Mr. Kelty said he had held discussions with former Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser about an Accord-style agreement prior to striking the agreement with Bob Hawke. Mr. Kelty has proposed a 5-point plan for reform, including supporting a small real increase in the minimum wage, phasing out JobKeeper slowly so the economy doesn't fall off a second cliff, and not deferring the already legislated 2021 rise in superannuation guarantee to 10%. Okay, this superannuation guarantee rise to 10%, that's another cost, guys. A lot of workers don't appreciate how much their super costs because they don't get the money in their own bloody hands. All of this is costs to businesses, guys. And I'm seeing this as from the eyes of a business owner. You know, Workplace Relations Minister Christian Porter also nominated resolving the challenge of casuals as the top of the reform list. And I think that yes, we will need to work out how we can define casuals in the Fair Work Act because clearly that uncertainty is itself causing economic problems and inhibiting the growth in jobs, he said. The complexity in some of the awards, particularly those that deal with key industries, hospitality, for instance, is a known problem. And we've seen that. We've seen that manifesting in just the number of businesses that have pulled back from these awards or have underpaid. Now people will have different views about how to solve these problems, but we want to get everyone in a room talking through these views and alternative ways to solve those problems and try and actually produce something or produce solutions to known problems that can weather a parliamentary process and actually increase jobs growth in Australia after the pandemic. And we face the biggest economic challenge of our lives. They're not going to achieve it. They won't achieve it. Is there going to be anyone there that's looking at, is there going to be anyone there that's looking at completely stripping away a lot of this rigmarole and pain? You think? What do you reckon? The Prime Minister said there was no guarantees his approach would work, but it was worth a try. And in times like this, the most difficult economic times we've faced since the Great Depression, then you've got to bring people together to find new solutions in industrial relations and in workplace relations, he said. We've been spinning wheels for quite a period of time, and that is not going to help us get people back to work. And we've got to break out of those old molds and put the weapons down, get people into a room and sort it out. We've got to try new things. We've got to do whatever we can to get people back in their jobs. It's all rhetoric, guys. They're not going to try new things. It's going to be the same thing again and again. We'll have to see. What about a special economic region, part of the country, maybe around certain cities, where a lot of these workplace relation laws were scaled back completely? Where super was paid directly to people, where you didn't have any minimum wage. What about that as an experiment? I wonder how that would work, guys. Would people rush and flock to these areas where the removal of minimum wage was offset by reduced income tax that people had to pay working there? You know, I don't think anyone would have the guts to even dare propose or implement such a policy. It would not sit well with all the Karens in our civilization. We're now seeking to do that in the workplace, getting employers and employees together, bosses and workers, others who are involved in the process, to see what they can agree so we can get people back into work. Labour's workplace relations spokesman Tony Burke said he would believe the government was serious about a better deal for casuals when he saw it. For years, Labour has been urging the government to bring workers and unions to the industrial relations negotiation table in a bid to deliver those sorts of reforms. Well, also Labour has senior members in your party that believe in rubbish like the gender wage gap, so I don't think you're going to add much more value to this. But let's be clear, all the government has done so far is book a room. There's not an IR agenda, it's a series of meetings. Well, that's most of what politics is, isn't it? What do you think, guys? Do you think it has a chance of succeeding? Do you think they'll actually make a difference? As a small business owner, are you looking forward to having to be more of a parent for your casual workers? To set aside their holiday pay, their sick leave, all of these other things. How would you affect it? Would you expect a reduction in their leave loading? A reduction in their loading? Do you look forward to the prospect of having more paperwork and more bureaucracy foisted on business? As always, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and you'd like to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay, or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can purchase our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next video.